Hello ladies! Today I'll be showcasing the results from one of the previous videos on thin nail reinforcement, demonstrating how well the nails held up. I'm confident that you'll be surprised as they've been on for over a month. And considering that 2024 is the year of the dragon, we'll create a design inspired by this theme. So let's get started. Here's how the nails look now. The index fingers are starting to droop again, and we'll, of course, lift them during the process and reinforce the nails using the same technique. Many have said that they wouldn't hold up, that there's very little gel to strengthen them. However, as you can see, everything is in place, and they've been holding up perfectly with no delamination or cracks. I've noticed that when people think about nail reinforcement, they often imagine thick and massive nails. Even clients, upon hearing about the need for reinforcement, often ask, won't they become thick? No, ladies, they won't if everything is done correctly. In almost all of my videos, I emphasize that there shouldn't be too much material, and this applies to both bases and gels. There's a trend to believe that when reinforcing nails, extensive filing will be required. Of course, I'm not saying this applies to everyone, but such views exist. In my video on subtle nail reinforcement, I debunked these myths. You don't need to spend half an hour filing. To work quickly without compromising quality, it's important to know how to perform the procedure correctly. This is the secret of a successful, speedy technician. I'll leave a link to that video in the description. And now let's move on to the work. As the cuticle is soft and slightly dry, I use a flame-shaped bit with a red notch. On these cuticles, you can perform the cut either with a bit or scissors. But my favorite are these scissors from Stalex with an anatomical tip that facilitates the work of the master. There's no need to twist the hand to complete the cut, and I stick to using them. How to prepare the nail plate for coating. Firstly, after the manicure, it is necessary to carefully remove all the dust and degrease the nail with a napkin soaked in a degreaser. After this, I almost apply a dehydrator to all the nails. It removes excess moisture. If it's clients with hyperhidrosis, I may apply it several times to dry the plate. After the dehydrator, I apply a non-acidic primer. I use an acid primer in about 1 out of 100 cases, or even less, because if done correctly, a regular bond will ensure good adhesion. We've already covered the base, and now we move on to the gel. I use a liquid acrylic gel from my favorite company. They already have a New Year's collection of acrylic gels with various sparkles. By the way, I've stocked up on a lot of New Year's supplies, so in the next video, we'll do an unboxing and I'll dazzle you with the sparkles I've gathered. I strengthen the nails using my technique. First, I apply it all over the nail. Then I put a drop and spread it on the plate, directing the material to the apex area. Here, you can notice the amount of gel I work with, and that's enough so that the nail doesn't look thick and it will be 100% strong. Under any gels, don't forget that the underlay should be flexible. After distributing the material, cure it in the lamp for 1.5 minutes to ensure the gel dries well. I remember the case with a colleague and how a lamp can ruin everything for you. She ordered a lamp on the website where she always bought it, worked as usual, but after 2 weeks she started receiving messages from clients with complaints about peeling. Every client was complaining she had to redo the manicure for all the clients she had served in the previous 2 weeks. It's such a pain. Masters surely know what it's like to redo things for free for such a number of people. She contacted the store to find out what the problem was, and they replied that indeed that batch of lamps had some defects, and they replaced her lamp. However, the time and materials, especially the reputation she lost, will not be compensated by anyone, of course. Such a situation can happen. While we're drawing the evil dragon, let me tell you about a mishap that happened to me last week and why it's important for you to always have at least a spare lamp and a drill. Now, before the holidays, there are a lot of clients at the salons, and in case of tool failure, masters understand that there is simply no time to wait for several days until new equipment arrives by mail. And here's what unpleasantness happened to me. I come to work, turn on everything in the sockets, and wait for the client. She arrives, I take the drill in my hands, turn it on, but it doesn't work. I thought maybe I inserted it poorly into the socket, check again, and it still doesn't work. I panic. I put my hand on the power block of the drill, and it's so hot, as if it's boiling in hot water. My hand starts shaking because the client came for a nail session and she has a wedding tomorrow. And then I remember that somewhere in the studio I have my old Chinese drill, which really saved me back then. I've never sweated so much in training as I did in that moment. Of course, I ordered myself a new drill on the same day and everything ended happily. But I advise you always to have a spare drill and lamp so as not to repeat my experience. A spare tool is a must. Personally, for all my practice, this happened for the first time. Have you had such adventures? Share in the comments. I think there will be something interesting to read. We've already drawn our little villain, and on the second finger we write the legendary phrase,
"Ho ho ho! Merry Christmas!"
We decided that we can't do without it. I took a thin brush with short bristles. It's convenient for writing or creating small details like dots, bringing gel polish to the cuticle, and so on. I also added a top coat with a quail egg effect. You can replace them with small white hexagons. I think it will also be interesting, or use glitter. It depends on your imagination and preferences. Now you can cover it with a top coat. I use a glossy top without dispersion and without filters. This is the top I'm currently using regularly. It holds the gloss perfectly and even keeps the design intact without using a base coat. Nothing chips and it wears beautifully. I apply the top coat in the middle layer and cure it in the lamp for 1.5 minutes. On the second hand, we also painted these candy canes, as I call them. I think all New Year's designs also look great with a matte top coat, since the velvety texture adds a cozy touch. Well, here's what we ended up with. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you want to learn how to work with gels in the thin technique and prevent anything from peeling off, be sure to check the video I attached in the description. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel to not miss the next useful and interesting videos. I say goodbye to you for now. Bye bye, beauties.